is called Lifting Your Voice.
A way to help understand what's happened, what's happening, is to look through a different lens.
Because art reflects life.
That is what artists do. They react to the world around them and try to make sense of it.
But stages are dark, galleries empty. The job has changed. Even my job behind an actual lens has changed.
I just don't know about this microphone and if it also picked up people over there coughing or the birds.
Yet creativity refuses to keep quiet.
I've got to get up and create something.
Are the recorders of
Right,
culture,
got to fight for that joy.
the creators of culture.
Make the world.
better.
All of it is this tool to connect us to each other. And
Creativity is determined to illuminate the events of this year.
The election, again, the protests,
So
the
much has happened in
pandemic,
And there were so many huge things that
the
happened
disruption
in
of
1 year.
everybody's normalcy. I mean, that's when art can really shine.
It's a little backyard concert.
Yeah. Just, my neighbors are used to me by now.
My name is Jen Cordy. I am an artist. My wife's name is Kelly, and she is an RN.
This is the song I wrote during the pandemic.
It's called Halo because I think she's an angel. There's just an enormous amount of grace and dignity that comes along with that profession, and I constantly see people disrespect it.
And I sing, brighter days come through, come through.
The song is about like they don't even understand, like we were living separately in the house at the time because it was in March and April. We didn't know like how serious it was, and she was working with COVID people and I'm high risk, so
Keeping me from her for another day.
well, telling the stories of people's voices who aren't heard.
This is the time in which we've come to realize how very vulnerable a lot of these people are. My name is Adri Norris, and I'm a painter. I really got into murals this year with regards to the unveiling of the varying levels of inequality that we experience in our country. Inspired me to focus not just on sort of women in general, but also to really dive deep into those who have been the most marginalized. So by elevating these stories, by telling them, by showing them, then that allows people to examine things more clearly and then gives us a place where we can actually enact change.
Pandemic with staggering, hateful ineptitude, nonstop fear and disinformation and finger pointing and uncertainty. It was exhausting. I don't know, I always deal with things by writing about it. Country's ever worsening mental health. I'm Adam Caton Holland, and I'm a writer and a comic. And for 2.5 months, the country had been seized by fear. I mean, this year's been so nuts with the pandemic and all the racial inequality and the rising up to combat it. That you've got a million thoughts swirling around your head. And I was also turning 40 in the middle of all of that. 6 years younger than George Floyd when he was killed. A global pandemic was raging with seemingly no end in sight. A wave of Americans was rising up to try to finish the fight for racial equality, while another racist wave was rising up to try
my wife and I have a joke where we're like, well, if I know anything, it's that this is all 2020's fault. December 31st at midnight, problem solved. Everything goes away. And I hate to be the pessimist, but I'm kind of like, I don't think 2020 is the problem. I think people are the problem. I think we've put ourselves in these untenable, terrible situations.
Everything was inspiring and terrifying. There was so much hatred and beauty in the world.
Times are difficult, and art brings such joy. I'm Amber Blaze, and I am the producing director of Rainbow Militia Circus. We are an immersive circus company. I feel like 2020 is going to bring about a lot of maybe darker stories, maybe more difficult stories. And so our hope was in 2020 that we could help people escape a little bit.
Be true to your
This one takes place in an imaginary world high in the clouds where the Greek gods have come together and are trying to create a brand new world that is better than the last one.
This is my yoga, this is my meditation. My name is Harrison Neely. I make furniture.
So 2020.
My favorite subject, 2020. The year all my hair falls out. Pretty hectic, pretty stressful. Folks getting locked up and killed and brutalized, and my wife doesn't really want me out of the house after dark with everything that's been going on this summer, so it's a juggle between deciding whether tonight's a good night to possibly die or tonight's a good night to get some work done. Got kids and the whole COVID thing. I got asthma, so not feeling comfortable or safe being involved, which it's hard. This is how I remember George Floyd. It's basically a play of words off of Pink Floyd, like being a brick in a wall, and it's pretty much what everybody that's fallen to gun violence this year has been just another brick in the wall, and everybody just keeps moving on.
The uprisings and the election and all of these things, I hope that it makes us take a part in our own futures. My name is Frankie Tone, and I am an artist based here in Denver. I think a lot of my practice is about tackling serious issues, but with a playful attitude. The costuming that I've done before have all been very outlandish, very impractical, almost non-functional. But then, there's much more tailoring. They are usable, wearable, functioning masks. I can still see the joyful thread of my work going through these pieces and through this year, even though it's been a pretty dark year.
Sometimes I press my fingers toward the invitation of sky and say yes.
You sitting underneath this weird microphone in the middle of a park in Denver, not weird.
Not the weirdest, no. No, I've done way weirder. Did you hear the one about the long lines around the gun shop and the sold-out bullets and the empty grocery store shelves? My name is Susie Q. Smith, and I'm an artist, activist, and educator. I hope we sing like the people in Italy. My poems this year are probably more full of hope and comfort than they normally would be. And maybe it's because I've written a million ragey poems already. During the uprisings of the summer, and a lot of people were asking me to speak, and I didn't have to write a single new thing, because none of it was new. I've been referring to this as the year that continues to demand our full attention. With that level of intensity, right, you're gonna have to feel your feelings. You have to feel your feelings. I'll tell you this, I'll sing before I shoot. I'll sing before I shoot. Never been afraid of heaven anyhow.
We might be a little beat up right now, and finding inspiration anywhere can feel bleak. But the soul of our city is a colorful, resilient one.
Giving a face to something matters.
Art hasn't been more urgent than it is
Every once in a while, we like to
You
create
still have that
photos.
impetus to get up and create stuff.
And it will continue to help us understand 2020 with emotion and strength and heart.